I want to bring in musician and first ever artistic advisor to the National Symphony Orchestra, Ben Folds. He stepped down from the post last year when President Trump announced his takeover of the Kennedy Center. Thank you so much for being with us, Ben. And I'm sure you're still in touch with folks at the Kennedy Center. Does anybody have any idea what's going on?
No, I mean, it's obviously not trying to elevate the arts. But no, I mean, that no one I knew that was coming. Yeah.
So 2 years, he says it's going to be closed down. The Kennedy Center had a major renovation just in 2019. So the president insists, though, that this building does need some serious work. Here's what he said.
It's in very bad shape. It's run down. It's dilapidated. It's sort of dangerous. Things fall out of ceilings. You've seen it. I'm not ripping it down. I'll be using the steel. So we're using the structure. We're using some of the marble, and some of the marble comes down. But when it's open, it'll be brand new and really beautiful. It'll be at the highest level.
You know this space better than most. Is it as bad as the president says it is?
No, it was beautiful. Everything looked perfect to me. I was there for 10 years. I don't know. I think he's making that up.
So it's set to close July 4th. What happens to all the employees? What happens to all the performances already scheduled for dates after that?
Well, you'd have to plan on that, and that would have to be part of an overall plan, which obviously they didn't have. No one knows. That's up to leadership. So there's no leadership here. Just announcement on social media. The Symphony Orchestra, the National Symphony Orchestra, was there, before the Kennedy Center, and hopefully they can find a home. But, I know in general, it takes about 1.5 years to even book a show. It's something that's not done on the spur of the moment. There's a lot of moving parts to it. It's very complicated. Arts administration in general is very complicated, and the people who came in and took over didn't know anything about it. And this is what happens. They've not closed it because of renovations. It's just gone.
What do you think is behind it?
Well, I mean, initially it seemed when I resigned, it seemed like it was just a kind of typical dictator, authoritarian sort of move to take over or choke down the arts. That's their instinct. And you can see they rolled on to Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert after that. And, that wasn't as successful as quickly for them. But there's no doubt that this is not about freedom of expression. It's the opposite. So I think it's very hard to control artists, and so, starting there and shutting down the arts where they can, which is very limited. It just is very sad because this is a living monument that's a great gift to the United States. It's a beautiful place. The National Symphony Orchestra is our National Symphony Orchestra, and they're out in the cold now. So,
yeah, it's. I lived in D.C. for a while. Worked at the White House, and I loved going there. There's something magical about the location.
Did you see things falling out of the ceiling?
I never, ever saw anything fall out of the ceiling. I actually thought, compared to some Broadway theaters, the seats were quite comfortable. But not to disparage Broadway. Love Broadway. Go there a lot. But look, I think some critics have suggested that the real motivation here is that Donald Trump didn't expect what happened, which is a lot of artists canceled, right? And a lot of big name artists canceled. Slow ticket sales. There are people who have had subscriptions to the Kennedy Center for years and years who were like, no, this isn't for me anymore. But do you think that's fair? Do you think that might have been part of the motivation there?
Well, I mean, it's hard to know what goes on in someone's mind who will say things like that. But I mean, I do think that, the overall, like I say, arts administration is quite a skill. It takes a long time to understand. And when you come in and you take over a place brutally like that, you're trying to muzzle the arts or control it. And people are art. You never, even in the Soviet Union at the height of Stalin, some of the greatest music ever made was coming out. They will not silence artists. They can shut down the buildings, and they can threaten the companies that make and distribute art. But artists are going to be artists. We're human beings. And so it's very frustrating to go, wow, we think we can take over the Kennedy Center. And suddenly, guess what? You don't know what you're doing. And part of not knowing what you're doing is not understanding how to get artists there, how to get audiences there. And none of the criticism or the lies that were leveled at the place they held any water at all. I mean, the place was very diverse, showing a diversity that is representative of the USA, including like rural America and every Christians, everybody, they were all included. There was no, I don't know what woke even means. There was none of that. All it was a really well-run place. And all places have their challenges, but Kennedy Center was in golden years. Like I think 2023, it was in the black. That's a federal arts institution that is running at a surplus. That's outstanding. And obviously they didn't do that.
It's almost unprecedented, Ben. I mean, arts organizations are struggling. That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Deborah Rutter was quite a genius at running that place, as was the previous director. We've had really good directors there. And, the thing is about the National Symphony Orchestra and the Kennedy Center in general, this is the place where you can try stuff, include everyone, and send out a signal to the rest of the symphony orchestras and the rest of the arts that this works, this doesn't work. It's a real great thing to have, not just for DC residents, but just for the country. It's an absolute gift. We had one of the best. It's beautiful. Like you don't know what you have till you lose it, and just shutting it down. There's nothing wrong with the place. There's something called deferred maintenance, about all the federal buildings have it. It's like something in the boiler room they can't pay for, because Congress hasn't given them the money yet. But the place was in gorgeous shape. There's nothing to fix.
Look, the thing about the arts is they can be many things for many people, right? They can be therapeutic. Yeah. They can be motivating. It can be a light. It can be political, right? It can be a chance to make a statement. It is so many things. But for President Kennedy, and let's be clear, this is a memorial to President Kennedy, the same as the Lincoln, right?
Yes.
He talked about the arts and the way they are transformative and the importance of them to a democracy and to American culture. So
yes.
What was your gut reaction when you saw Donald Trump's name on that building?
Oh, it's disgusting. I mean, the only thing I would say is at least it says what it is now, but it feels like it's being held hostage. I mean, I think it's important what you just said, that it's a living memorial, and it is not intended for profit. Every other venue in the country, it's not Madison Square Garden. Every other venue in the country does that. What this is it's elevating art in America, so that, I think the idea, as I took it, the mission there is that the United States is trying to make it so that we're trying to make it so everyone has enough of what they need. But even if you're on the way to getting there and it's not working for you economically, you have the right to art and to be there and to see yourself up on stage. And art is communication. And a dictator type wants to shut communication down, especially when it seems to be communication from people you don't want to hear from. But I just say once again, artists are artists, and it won't damage art. It damages the commerce of art, and it damages who can get access to it. And but meanwhile, artists need to just be very honest in this period. We need to be very expressive and not worry about upsetting people right now. The artists are needed.
But I do think about the audiences. I do think about the people for whom that is accessible, right? So let me finally ask you this, Ben.
Yeah.
This decision is supposed to be approved by the board, but Donald Trump has filled it with his supporters. So is there anything that you know of that can be done about this?
No, I mean, I have to think that Congress can rein him in somewhat. but they've shown themselves to not be able to do that very often. But we keep hoping someone will save. I mean, if this is true, it's going to take it down to the steel. He's going to bomb it? Like, what is that? Why attack a living memorial like that? Do we have Congress? I mean, I shook hands with so many people backstage there in the government that, love the shows. Their kids, they want their kids to have the arts. They revere the place. I don't know. I'm just a musician, and I don't even work there anymore, and I'm spending time here on TV. Can Congress do something? These people, I shook hands and said, yeah, yay, and we took pictures together. Can you do something? I mean, so, yeah. I mean, who knows? I wish I did know.
Ben Folds, I will say that rarely in one of our planning meetings for the next day is there as much excitement as there was about having you on the show. You have a lot of fans.
Oh, thank you.
In our little group of 25 people or so. And thank you for what you had to say and for your ongoing support, not just of your own career, but of the arts in general. Thank you.
Can I just say to the orchestra and the security and the library and everyone there at the Kennedy Center that I haven't talked to, you did amazing work, and I hope it comes back together. And I'm sorry, this is probably not good for your career and your jobs, but they're amazing, and they've done great things for us, and so I thank you.